All. In this lecture, we will continue our discussion about the greatest common divisor. Today, we are going to discuss the relatively prime integers and its related identities. Two integers a and b, not both of which are 0, are said to be relatively prime whenever their GCD is equal to 1. So, two integers are said to be relatively prime whenever they are GCD, greatest common divisor, is equal to 1. Consider the numbers 6 and 11. We know that the common factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3 and 6, isn't it? And common factors of 11 means 11 is a prime number, so it has only 1 and that number as its divisors or factors. So from this it is clear that the only common factor or common divisor is 1. So their GCD, greatest common divisor, is 1 itself. So that two numbers 6 and 11, we can say that they are relatively prime numbers. Similarly, when we consider 12 and 25, they have also no common factor other than 1. So their GCD is 1. That means 12 and 25 are also relatively prime numbers. Similarly, 6 and 35 are also relatively prime. Now we consider one theorem, one result about the Fibonacci numbers. That means when we consider any two Fibonacci numbers, they are relatively prime. We know that the Fibonacci number starts from 1, 1, 2, then 3, then 5, then 8, 11, 13, etc. Isn't it? These are the Fibonacci numbers. So when we consider any two consecutive numbers, when we consider 5, here there are numbers 2 and 18 which are not relatively prime, but when we consider two consecutive numbers, when we consider any two consecutive numbers, then these are relatively prime. Relatively prime means their GCD is 1. So we can observe that this is true, but we have to prove this. And the proof is, we are going to prove by contradiction method. Okay. So the proof is by contradiction method. So we have to prove that any two consecutive Fibonacci numbers are relatively prime. Let fn and fn plus 1 be two consecutive Fibonacci numbers. And we assume to the contrary that they are not relatively prime. Not relatively prime means they have some common factor or common divisor other than 1, isn't it? That means they are not relatively, we have to prove it is relatively prime. So we assume on the contrary that they are not relatively prime. Not relatively prime means their GCD is not equal to 1. That means they have a common divisor, isn't it? Let P be a prime factor. Let P be that common divisor. Then let P be a prime factor of both Fn and Fn plus 1. So let P be that factor or divisor. Now we know the formula relating the Fn and Fn plus 1, Cassini's formula of Fibonacci numbers. The formula is Fn minus 1 into Fn plus 1 minus Fn square is equal to minus 1 raised to n, where n is greater than or equal to 1. So please remember this formula and keep it in mind. Then we know that P is the common factor of or common divisor of Fn and Fn plus 1. That means P divides Fn, or in some other words we can say that P divides Fn and P divides Fn plus 1. Then by the divisibility property of integers, we know that if A divides B and A divides C, then A divides any possible linear combination of B and C. That is, A divides A alpha B plus beta C for any integers A, B, C, alpha and beta. So similarly, if P divides Fn plus 1 and if P divides Fn, then P must divide if p divides fn plus 1, then p must divide any number which is a multiple of fn plus 1. So fn minus 1, fn plus 1, which is a multiple of fn plus 1. So p also divide this number. And also p divides fn means p divides fn square also. Then their difference is also divided by p, or p divides their difference also. Now comparing things with the Cassiny's formula that we discussed, p divides, this means this is actually minus 1 raised to n. The possible value of minus 1 raised to n is plus or minus 1 only. So we can conclude that from Cassiny's formula p divides plus or minus 1. But this is a contradiction, isn't it? P can't divide plus or minus 1, or p 1 or minus 1 can't be written as a multiple of any number, any integer, okay, any number greater than 1. So p does not divide, we know that p does not divide plus or minus 1, so this makes a contradiction. Hence this is because we are all in the beginning we assumed that, because of our hypothesis, that means we are assumed that the two consecutive integers arbitrary we are taken fn and fn plus 1, they are consecutive integers are have a common factor or common divisor. That was wrong. So any two consecutive Fibonacci numbers are relatively prime. Okay. Now we next move on to some interesting lemma about the Fermat numbers. Fermat number, please recall that what is the definition of a Fermat number. The Fermat number means any number n which can be written in the form 2 raised to n plus 1, isn't it? So for n equal to 0, we know that 3 is the smallest Fermat number, and the next second Fermat number is 5. So Fermat numbers are starting from 3, 5, etc. Isn't it? Now the formula is, the result is a small fi denote the Fermat number, and we know capital Fi we are denoting for Fibonacci numbers. This lemma is about Fermat numbers, so don't confuse with the two. The result is f naught, the product of n minus 1 Fermat numbers. First n minus 1, f naught is 3, f naught we know that f naught value of f naught is 3, f1 is 5, etc. isn't it? So f naught into f1 into etc., the product of first n consecutive Fermat numbers is equal to fn, nth Fermat number minus 2 for any n greater than or equal to 1. This is a very important result and very useful result also. It is also it was discovered by Duncan, and hence this identity, your result is known as Duncan's identity. I don't know what is the exact pronunciation, but now we can say it has Duncan's identity. Okay. So the proof is by weak induction. I think you remember the weak induction method. That means we first there is a initial step, that means we will prove that it is true for some fixed integer, then we assume that it will be true for some numbers n equal to k, then we will prove that it is true for n equal to k plus 1 also, then it will be true for every integer n greater than or equal to n naught. That means the we are taking here n naught as 1. So in the first step we prove that for n equal to 1 the result is true. Now when n equal to 1, what will be the left hand side? Left hand side is f naught up to fn minus 1. So when n is equal to 1, the left side is only f naught. F naught we know that it is 3. And what about the RHS? When n equal to 1, RHS is f1 minus 2. We know f1 is 5. So 5 minus 2, that is 3. So the result is true for n equal to n naught equal to 1. Now we assume that the second step is our inductive hypothesis. That is, we assume that the result is true for n equal to k. That means we have the result f naught into f1 into etc. up to fk minus 1 is equal to fk minus 2. Okay. Then we consider the product up to fk. Fk, that we can group it as f naught f1 into etc up to fk minus 1 into fk, and from the hypothesis we know it is first k minus k multiple is product is equal to fk minus 2 into fk by the our inductive hypothesis. Okay, now recall the definition of Fermat number. We have fk is 2 raised to 2 raised to k plus 1. Substitute that in equation. So we get fk minus 2 into fk. We have written the value. Now fk minus 2 we can also rewrite it as by the definition of fk. Then it is 2 raised to 2 raised to k plus 1 minus 2 into 2 raised to 2 raised to k plus 1. Then it is after simplification we can consider this as it is of the form a minus b into a plus b. Now what is the identity thus relating this a minus b into a plus b is a square minus b square. So applying that we will get here a means 2 raised to 2 raised to k is a, and what is b? B is equal to 1. So a square means 2 raised to 2 raised to k whole square. So this will be of the form 2 raised to 2 raised to k into 2. So that is 2 raised to 2 raised to k plus 1. So 2 raised to 2 raised to k plus 1 minus minus 1. So minus 1 we can rewrite as minus 2 plus 1. So instead of minus 1 I am writing it as minus 2 plus 1, and taking this plus 1 to this term, first term, we will and grouping, then we can write it as 2 raised to 2 raised to k plus 1 minus 2. By definition this is fk plus 1. So we will get it as fk plus 1 minus 2. That means we have proved the result for when it is true for n equal to k. We proved that the result is true for n equal to k plus 1 also. Then by our induction we can say that the result is true for every integer n greater than or equal to 1. So up to this we have discussed only the two results, and that means the first one, first we discussed about the relatively prime numbers. Relatively prime, what is meant by relatively prime integers, and we have identified that any two Fibonacci, any two consecutive Fibonacci numbers are relatively prime. And that we already proved, and we have proved one more thing, that is Duncan's identity. Regarding Fermat numbers, that is we have obtained f naught into product of f etc fn minus 1. This is equal to fn minus 2 for n greater than or equal to 1. So this, up to this we have all discussed. We have discussed today. Okay, let's conclude here. Thank you. Thank you all.